guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've had a good past few weeks and I hope you've been enjoying the vlogs I've been uploading very slowly. I haven't been home much in all honesty. I had a job in Sunbury, which is on the opposite end of Victoria, and then I was in Falls Creek for a week, and now I'm back and I'm actually leaving in a few days to go overseas, and I haven't announced it to any of you. Actually, before I tell you guys, pause this video in a moment and comment below where you think I'm going. If you want it to be like more of a broad answer, say the continent, because I'm super interested to see if anybody gets this right. Anyway, the place that I'm going is, drumroll, Africa. And I know some of you guys are probably thinking, but you've been to Africa before, but I haven't been to the places that I'm going this time around. Rwanda, Ethiopia, and Uganda, which are such unique places, and I am so excited. I have a half-packed suitcase right in front of me right now. I've known about this trip for probably over a year now, and for some reason it's just never slipped out of my mouth. For those of you who enjoy travel vlogs, don't worry, I'll be vlogging the entire trip, and I got a bunch of new equipment recently, so it should actually look a lot better than any of my last travel vlogs. I'll hopefully be able to put up a few while I'm away. I have no idea internet-wise, but if not, they'll be scattered throughout next year. But anyway, let's move on to the Q&A. This first question was actually asked like 10 minutes after I filmed my last Q&A, and then I saw it after I finished filming and I was like, crap, because I was too busy to answer it. But the question is from the Instagrammer Kira Ashley. She's a model and she currently lives in Japan, but she's Australian like me, and I love her photos, they're awesome. But her question is, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? I was actually thinking about this recently because I've had friends move overseas this year, and I have another close friend leaving me next year. I don't think I would ever properly live overseas. I don't think I would be there for longer than a year because I love living in Melbourne. Australia in general is just the best country for me. I feel like lifestyle wise, it's really relaxed. We have a lot of freedom here. Even though I'm in the city sometimes multiple times a week, I still think it's a beautiful place to explore, and there's amazing places outside of the city, so many I am yet to explore. For like short-term living, I think it would be really cool. If I got a job somewhere for like 6 months to a year or less than that, I would definitely consider doing it, mostly if it was with a friend or something. That would be awesome. I think I would like to live somewhere in Europe, maybe Berlin, because I love Berlin. Or Poland, I like Poland as well. I then got a bunch of amazing questions from the Instagrammer Caitlin. The first question is, what has been the biggest advice you have ever gotten from someone? This is hard because I feel like I get advice from people all the time. My parents give really good advice, my friends give good advice, I go to a psychologist that obviously gives really good advice. I would probably say that she gives the best advice out of anyone just because it's her job. I actually went back to my psychologist today, and I haven't been there since June 2016, and just going there for an hour, it was crazy the effect it had on me. Obviously, like, I'm not fixed and I'm not like, woo, everything's great, but it was just amazing what it could do to my mindset, and how the advice she says really sticks with me. Personally, I'm a perfectionist. I'm sure a lot of you guys are too, and I think one thing she's really taught me is that to be authentic and to be human requires you to have flaws. I feel like it's definitely helped me get out of my comfort zone this year and take risks, even if I think that I could be judged for it, or maybe my like self-image is compromised in some way. But I just used to overthink everything. Like, even online, I'll say something, no one would even notice, and I'll look back and be like, why did I say that? That was totally offensive, but no one will think so. I'm just overthinking it. I follow a Tumblr called, I think it's Online Counseling. I'm not sure, but I'll have it linked in the description. And I honestly feel like a lot of that stuff soaks in for me. I'll try to find some things that I've reblogged off there, because some of those things just really hit home. I feel like they make so much sense to me logically, therefore they actually have an impact on me. So this one is by Daniel Kopecki. Oh, I hope I'm right. Stop comparing where you're at with where everyone else is. It doesn't move you further ahead, improve your situation, or help you find peace. It just feeds your shame. Ultimately, it keeps you stuck. This quote also links back to the perfectionist thing. Don't wait for everything to be perfect before you decide to enjoy your life. And that's by Joyce Meyer. And that is so me. I'm very perfectionist about things that do not matter. I understand that nobody's life is perfect, but I feel like sometimes I don't even let myself feel like purely happy until everything's balanced. And that's ridiculous because then it means that I'm constantly like waiting for something to work out or get better. And it's not very healthy. I feel like the main advice I've been getting from my friends and my family is focusing on myself, because I do have a habit of either focusing on other people and helping them with their own problems more than my own, or obviously because I've been in a relationship, I'm very used to like having someone else to take care of too. So a lot of my friends have been telling me to focus more on myself, take care of myself more, and it is something that actually works. I'm in a lot of situations where I notice myself not doing it, and then I remember those words and it clicks. If one of you guys is watching this right now, seriously, thank you so much. Your words really do stick in my head more than you realize. The next question is, hands down, what is the one thing you have done, achieved, that every time you think about it, you smile and it makes you proud? One of them is actually vlogged. I'm going to have it linked in the description because it was a very special moment for me. But basically, my whole life growing up, I was terrified jumping into water. I don't know why. I never jumped into pools, wouldn't jump off a pier. Basically, when we're in Antarctica, there was a thing called a polar plunge, and obviously the water is freezing in Antarctica, so you basically jump in and then get out, and it honestly makes your skin like numb. Leading up to it, I was like, of course I'm not doing that. That doesn't make any sense. But on the day, I was suddenly so scared that I would regret it in the future that I forced myself to do it. And every time I think back on the fact that I did that, it makes me less fearful towards other things that are less scary. And it's definitely something that helped shape who I was in 2016, because I did it on like the third day of 2016. So I'm really glad that I took that plunge. Other than that, I would probably have to say career stuff, because I've worked on so many shoots that was so challenging but so rewarding. Anytime I'm demotivated, I think about the fact that I got through that, or that I've accomplished that, or that I'm proud of this thing I did, and it keeps me motivated. Other than that, I would say graduating university, which is actually something I did 2 weeks ago, and it was so special to me. I really didn't think it would make that much of a difference being handed this piece of paper, but since then I've just felt so much more motivated with my career, and I'm planning more than I ever have with this sort of stuff, and I will be doing so much in the next year, and I'm really excited about that. The next question is, what is your favorite photo on your phone / your fave Polaroid photo? Favorite photo on my phone, I feel like I would end up sitting here for like hours, because let's see how many photos I have. 27,000 photos on my camera roll right now. I reckon it'll be fun next year though if I made a video where I basically shut my eyes and then scrolled, landed on a photo or a video, and then had to explain it to you. It would kind of be like a challenge, but it would be a great way for you guys to get to know me. But Polaroid photo I can do a lot more because there's not that many there. This first photo is actually with someone who could be watching this, and her name is Aisha, and she's a subscriber of mine. And I met her the night of my friend Miranda's 21st, and that night was so fun. And one of the things that made it so special was that I met my first subscriber, someone who I didn't know at all. And I had the most amazing conversation with her. It really hit me in that moment that like, wow, I can actually have an influence on someone. It's actually super cute. I'm surprised I don't look totally weird because I was pretty drunk. Oh, these people mean so much to me. I took 4 at graduation, but these 2 are my favorites. One of them I love because it literally looks like it's taken in like the 80s. This photo here has my friend Jordan, Aiden, Miranda, Thomas, and Dylan in it. And then this one here is with my parents, Denise and Ireland, and my friend Robin, and they're all the amazing people that came to my graduation. So I'm really glad that I got these photos. And then I also got another one just with Ireland, and then I got one with Georgia before our Lord concert recently. I need to chuck all of these up, but I literally have no rows left, and I'll have to like rearrange my whole room in a way just to get these up. Now moving on to the next question, which is from my friend Sachin. He has been a pretty dedicated Q&A supporter over the years, so I really appreciate that. His question is, what's it like realizing you're such a different person from when you started uni? I'm sure you guys who watch my vlogs are probably sick of me reflecting about this, because it's just something I talk and think about a lot. If you even just go back and watch my vlogs from around that time, I was just very shy. I was very anxious. I am still an anxious person, but in a very different way. It was very like upfront. I feel like you could just tell in all of my videos. I lacked a lot of confidence. I didn't have many friends and I didn't know how to make friends at all, did not know how to network, I had no confidence in any of my abilities. Maybe that's because I was really bad back then. In general, I had no confidence that I was going to get better, which is crazy to me because even right now I'm like, I am only like a tiny amount of the skills and knowledge that I want to have, and I know that I can obviously keep learning more, but back then I just felt like I was very stuck. And I feel like even since I finished university back in August, I have changed heaps from then too. I do find it to be very overwhelming. I was talking to my psychologist about it a little bit today, and I just find it to be sort of like my life is moving forward and I'm changing and I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to like grasp everything and figure out what's going on, but everything's moving so fast. So it's a little overwhelming, but it is very exciting. My life is definitely interesting, so I really do like that aspect of how me and my life have changed. The next question is anonymous, and you guys can do that anytime, by the way. If there's any questions you want to ask and you don't want your name said, I'm completely fine with that. And the question is, how do you deal with a breakup and what helped you the most? And I actually really like this question because it's something that I think I'll make a proper video on in the future, like one whole video dedicated to advice on this because I have a decent amount of experience with it now. I'll tell you a few things now that are on top of my head, but I really do want to plan that video like properly because it's not a simple topic. Dealing with a breakup or broken heart in any situation is extremely hard. I feel like you can't explain it to anybody if they haven't been through it themselves. And even if they have been through it themselves, everybody has such different experiences because the circumstances are always different, the emotions are different, and every human works differently. So I feel like you can only help people to an extent, and that's kind of what sucks because I know that I won't be able to give you guys specific advice for situations unless you actually approach me and tell me the situation, which feel free to do because I'll be happy to listen and help if I can. One thing that is very important is to let yourself grieve. It is very easy to go out there and distract yourself and focus on yourself and do all of that, which is very good, but to accidentally skip over the grieving process. A lot of you guys may have noticed if you watch my vlogs that I may have seemed like really like kind of happy and okay at some points, but then at other points I would hit a low. And it was because I wasn't letting myself grieve it in a natural way. I was distracting myself and I was doing fun things, because now it means that my grieving is sort of delayed and it's almost chopped up into pieces because it's been delayed. It's just messy. I feel like there's definitely better ways to handle it. Dealing with a breakup is something that will probably take longer than you expect. It gets easier with time, but sometimes there's just days where it's all you'll think about, or something will remind you, or you'll just feel sad about it, and that's very normal. It's perfectly okay to get upset at any time, whether you're in public, whether you're with friends, whether you're alone, as long as you're seeking help and you're communicating to at least one person about how you feel so that you know that you're not alone and that you can get through it, then it's perfectly okay. I feel like a lot of people deal with it in a very extreme way. They sort of close off all of the bad emotions and replace it with good ones, and adding good times into your life, whether it's experiences or trying to work on positive thoughts or just working on yourself and making yourself a better person, that's awesome, but let yourself grieve. That's definitely a lesson that I have learned and I will do in the future, because trying to like suppress that isn't healthy. Focusing fully on yourself is very important, and I give this advice to anyone, whether they're in a relationship or they're dating someone or they're not interested in anyone. It's a very important thing, but I do feel like if you don't have anyone else in your life, you actually can give yourself your full attention. It's something that you can do without compromising too much. Obviously you still want to be there for your friends, you're not going to cut them out, but not having a partner, you do have more time to think about yourself. So it's really good if you set yourself goals, and I don't mean extreme goals like running a marathon. You could potentially make goals or focus more on hobbies or your friendships or your fitness or your health or maybe your appearance or just being your idea of a better person. There are so many things that you can focus on, and it provides both a distraction and a positive change. Sometimes it's the tiny things that you're doing every day or every week or every month that have the biggest impact, and you don't realize until you look back and you're like, wow, I've changed a lot, or wow, I've grown as a person. Personally, for me, I focused on my career a lot more, which was always important to me, but it's become even more important to me now. And another thing that I've definitely focused on a lot more is good quality friendships. The first thing is putting time aside for friendships that you really, really value, because there are some friendships out there that you don't realize that you're just doing it because you have to. So I don't mean cut those people off, but focusing on the ones that add more value to your life are so important. And the second thing is spending quality time with your friends. I feel like in the past I didn't spend much good quality chatting time with my friends, but it's something I've focused on a lot more recently, and it's made my friendships have a lot more value, and I'm really happy about that. Anyway, I feel like I've talked about this a lot, and I'll definitely make a proper video for this next year once I've gathered my thoughts more, learnt more lessons, etc, etc. But hopefully that is helpful for you in some way. And I'm guessing from you sending this message that you are either going to go through that soon or you're going through that right now. So I really, really hope that you're okay. And I promise you, it only gets easier from here on now, mostly if you take care of yourself. It is really hard to take care of yourself. Trust me, I get it. Also, I know that a lot of my viewers are quite young, like I am. We have a lifetime ahead of us to continue to make mistakes, continue to get our heart broken if that happens, and we can still get exactly what we want in life. There's just so much time. Alright, so one of the questions is from the YouTuber Taylor Talk, who I actually have 2 Polaroids on my wall with now, which is the coolest thing. So we're watching each other for years, so it's like really trippy that that actually happened. But her question is, are you going to VidCon next year, and will you get a creator pass? And yes, I will be going to VidCon next year. I haven't bought the tickets yet, but I loved VidCon this year. I definitely want to experience VidCon very differently next year. I want to network a bit more. I want to market myself better. And I want to go to more of the workshops that actually are to do with me. The second part of the question was, will you get a creator pass? That's an interesting question, because it seems like I would 100% be certain about that because I am a creator and I got one this year. But there's a part of me that kind of wants to get the industry pass. I'm not sure what's required, but I just heard about a lot of the workshops that they had, and it sounded like it would be so beneficial for me, not just with YouTube, but career-wise. And also I think you have access to a lot more stuff. So I'm thinking I could consider getting one of those. I know they're a lot more pricey. I don't know the price, but I feel like they could be like $300-$400, but I really want to look into it because the creators pass was good, but at the same time I'm just as much of a creator as I am working in the industry, so it's like I don't know. So I'm gonna have to think about it, but yes, I'm coming to VidCon next year. This question on Instagram was a direct message from, how do I pronounce this name? Kiviana Esther, I don't know how to pronounce it. The question was how to be cool like you, as in like, how do I be cool like you? I'm not cool, to be honest. I think I'm just a very normal person. I do think some people are cool for things though. Like if people like dress cool, I'm like, they're cool. Or they have good taste in music, I'm like, they're cool. I don't actually think other than that there's a way to like measure how cool someone is, but thank you for thinking I'm cool. The first question from Alec is, what is the best and worst purchase you have ever made? One of the best purchases I've made is probably my camera that I'm filming with right now, because it has made me money. So it's definitely been an investment piece. And I think some of the recent equipment I got, I probably feel similar about, but because I haven't used it on jobs, I'm sort of like, not my favorite yet. Some of my least favorite purchases are probably clothing that I've barely worn. I actually think about it every time I get dressed in the morning. I look over and I'm like, I don't wear probably 1/3 of these clothes, and I hate that money went into that when I could have just not spent that money and then used it on better clothing that I loved. It's something I think about all the time, and it's the reason I want to make like a cleaning out my closet series inspired by Silver Fox Beauty and by Rachel Lee, and obviously other YouTubers that did that, but those are the 2 people that inspired me personally. Also, same applies to makeup. There's a lot of stuff that I barely use, and it drives me crazy walking in there and seeing all of it in there and being like, I don't even use some of this stuff and I really want to use it up because I hate wasting it, but I don't really feel like using it. And the last question from Alec is, are there any kind of unwritten rules where you work? That's super interesting because I'm a freelancer, so I work for multiple companies or myself. So it's very different everywhere I work, but we're not really given any actual rules. So I feel like most things are unwritten rules. Like for example, like sexual harassment or abuse. They're definitely unwritten rules, but they get broken, as we can tell from Hollywood and even just from my own experience. That shit gets broken way too often, and it's not okay, and I feel like I'm gonna make another rant video about this next year. It's hard because there's a lot of things out there that should be expected when you're working on set, but so many people break them. There are rules within my head and people who are similar to me, but they're regularly broken, and a lot of them are just safety stuff. I see people do stuff all the time on set which is totally unsafe, and it's very frustrating to watch because you either say something, you come across like you're being like snobby and like trying to tell them what to do, or if you don't tell them there's consequences, or you just have to do it yourself and then you're distracted from your own job, and it's like, ah. There are other unwritten rules which sort of depend on who you're working for. So there's some things like that catering should always be provided if you're working a certain amount of hours. There's a similar thing when it comes to transport. So for people that drive, it's kind of expected that their petrol will be covered, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Or public transport, if their Mikey is covered. Our industry definitely has a lot of extra costs that sometimes aren't covered, and you can definitely prevent that if you have a contract. But if you're working for companies that don't have those contracts, and then the clients don't have that contract with them, it can get really messy and you can't really say anything.